Good evening, everybody. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The flags in the back of the room. Oh, there's one right there. Sorry. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's the one time of the year that I actually get to bang the gavel is at this meeting, so I really enjoy it. I call this annual meeting to order. I would like to introduce Deborah Southier, Manchester Town Manager, who will assist me in the election of the moderator. Is Deb here? There she is. I will entertain a motion to nominate a moderator to preside at this meeting.
Thank you, sorry. I move to nominate Richard A. Spencer as moderator to reside at said meeting. School board member second. Thank you. I did.
Oh, got a second? Okay, we're good with that. So, Deb is going to pass out some ballots.
Yeah, any other nominations?
Oh, sorry, any other nominations? See? Seeing and hearing none, Deb will continue to pass out the ballots, and then she will collect them and announce the results. It is a unanimous vote. Richard A. Spencer will be our nominator at the meeting. I'd like to invite him to the podium where I'll give him the oath of moderator. He's been through this rodeo several times, so he's leading me more than I'm leading him. Do you, Richard Spencer, swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Maine so long as you shall continue to be a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge to the best of your abilities the duties incumbent on you as moderator of the RSU 38 budget meeting here on May 8, 2024, according to the constitutions and the laws of the state of Maine?
I do.
We have some signatures and then we'll get started.
So the motion said that I would be elected to reside at the meeting rather than preside at the meeting. But I'm going to try to make the meeting quick enough so that I don't actually take up residence here. I'd like to start by swearing in the ballot clerks, who I gather are gathered here in front of me. So do you swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Maine, so long as you shall continue to be a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge to the best of your abilities the duties incumbent on you as ballot clerks of the Regional School Unit number 38 budget meeting on May 8, 2024, according to the Constitution and the laws of the state of Maine? Thank you. So I'd like to begin, I'll outline the procedures that we'll follow, but the procedures that I use would be the main moderator's manual, which is the regular set of rules for a town meeting, backed up by Robert's Rules of Order, except to the extent that those are modified by state statutes. And there's really only one significant difference, and that is that at a town meeting, it takes a 50% vote to require a written ballot on a question, but under a school budget meeting, if 10% of the voters in attendance request a written ballot on a particular article, then we would need to vote by written ballot. Otherwise, I'll ask for a voice vote, and if it's not clear which side prevailed, then I would ask for a show of hands so that the ballot clerks can count the votes. In order for people who are not residents of the district to speak at the meeting, it requires a 2/3 vote of the meeting. And there are a number of employees of the district who may want to answer questions or who people may have questions of. So I would like a motion to allow the following non-residents to speak: Principal Michelle Hood, Principal Michelle LaForge, Principal Rick Sirois, Director of Curriculum Instruction and Assessment Karen Smith, and Adult and Community Education Director Steve Vos. If somebody would make that motion to allow them to
I move
speak.
to allow the following non-residents to speak: Principal Michelle Hood, Principal Michelle LaForge, Principal Rick Sorois, Director of Curriculum Instruction and Assessment Karen Smith, and Adult and Community Education Director Steve Vos.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to allow them to speak. If there are questions, is there any discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. The motion carries. The other thing is a matter of procedure that I try to follow is if somebody makes an amendment to an article, we take up the amendment first, see if it passes, and then vote on the main motion. I don't permit an amendment to an amendment because that gets too confusing as to what we're actually voting on. So if somebody wants to propose something that's different from the amendment that's on the floor, they should wait until that first amendment is voted up or down and then make another motion after that. So we only have one question on the floor at a time. With that, I'd like to proceed to the articles, starting with Article 2. To see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for regular instruction, including alternative education, ELLS, English language learners instruction, and gifted and talented education. The school board recommends $9,596,231. Is there a motion?
I move to adopt Article 2 as recommended. Second.
It's been moved and seconded on Article 2. Is there any discussion? Yes, sir. Yeah, come up to the mic if you would.
Good evening. My name is John Harker with Mount Vernon. I would like to make an amendment to the motion to add $50,000 to this article in order to add back the math ed tech position for Mount Vernon Elementary, a position that was cut by the board because they decided, since it had not been filled for a year, that the position could be eliminated. And I can go on, but I thought you probably need to have a second before you have discussion, because I do have discussion points.
Okay, I'd also like to clarify, under the state statutes, you can add 50,000 to the amount, but you can't actually control what the 50,000 is used for. That's up to the school board.
That is correct, and I do understand that, Mr. Moderator, and I hope that the board, if this does pass by a majority, that the board will honor the wishes of the majority and follow through with the recommendation.
Okay. So it's been moved to add $50,000 to Article 2. Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, I do have some discussion points. Just because the position is left unfilled does not mean it is not needed. In fact, these positions were much needed and still are. The need for this position was clearly identified for the 2022-2023 school year by a team of administrators and teachers, and the need can be found in the strategic plan for the Every Student Succeeds Act funding document prepared for the board by the curriculum director in June of 2023. And I would just like to read just a couple of sections from that report. Each school's literacy and math specialists play an integral role in strengthening the MTSS process, that is for kids to learn, by providing direct intervention to at-risk students. And additionally, these individuals support classroom teachers of at-risk students and contribute to the school's district MTSS leadership team. Funds are provided for academic support services for grades K through 5 in literacy and math, providing professional development, and also to support family involvement for all students. These positions allow schools to provide targeted support to students from low-income backgrounds, addressing achievement gaps, promoting individualized instruction, supporting professional development, and fostering community engagement. While the board's reason for cutting the position was because they could not fill the position, the need does still exist. Perhaps the district needs to double down on finding a way to fill the position. And I know that is a problem around the state. It doesn't matter. The need is still there. And as to the funding, I will make this point, and I might make it again later tonight. The district is awash in our unexpended tax dollars from savings over the past 7 years. Right now, we have over $2 million unexpended. Until I made the board aware of this money a month ago, they did not even know this amount of funds existed to be spent. I submit to you that the district comes in under budget over $1 million a year, with over $250,000 per year added to the unassigned balance. That means we could spend about an additional $250,000 each year and not even touch the $1 million that's sitting there. So there are plenty of funds to spare for this position and maybe for some other things tonight. I believe it is critical to use the money we have to fund positions and other things that directly impact our students' learning rather than letting it sit idle. After all, that is what our tax dollars are meant to do. The administration may say that they need a contingency fund and that they need some funds at the beginning of the year to make sure they have enough cash flow to cover expenses. I submit to you that I have looked at the cash balances at the beginning of each fiscal year as in the audit reports, and it has been over $3 million for each of the past 3 years. And it is my understanding that the district has not gone to zero at all or expended the cash reserves. So we have plenty of funds to cover this position, a very small amount of money, and perhaps some other items we need. Thank you, sir.
Is there any further discussion on the amendment to increase Article 2 by $50,000? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. This is a vote on the amendment, not on the article itself. All in favor of the amendment, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Nay. The nays have it on the amendment. That takes us back to Article 2, which is to raise, to authorize the expenditure of $9,596,231 for regular instruction.
This article includes, I'm sorry, I was supposed to read it.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
This article includes negotiated salaries and benefits for regular education instructional staff, supplies, professional development, contracted services, and copier maintenance costs.
So that's what is covered in this article. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of Article 2, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Article 2 is approved. Article 3, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for special education. The school board recommends $3,227,856. Is there a motion?
I move to adopt Article 3 as recommended.
Second.
This article includes negotiated salary and benefits for special education administration and instructional staff, special education legal costs and tuition costs for out-of-district placements. Special education provides services as required by law.
Further discussion on Article 3? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of Article 3 say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Article 3 is approved. Article 4, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend, this is a tough one, for career and technical education co-op pathways program and capital area technical center, CATC, tuition. The school board recommends 0.
I move to adopt Article 4 as recommended.
Second.
The state of Maine has changed funding and expenses for CATSI, so we no longer need to budget for tuition.
Any further discussion on Article 4? Yes, ma'am.
Could I just ask you to repeat what you read?
The state of Maine has changed fundings and expenses for the capital area technical center, so we no longer need to budget this tuition expense.
The technical center is funded directly from an appropriation by the state rather than funded locally, but the statute still requires that this article be voted on. Any further discussion? All those in favor of Article 4 say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Article 4 is approved. Article 5, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for other instruction, co-curricular, extracurricular, and regular education summer instruction. The school board recommends $567,369.
I move to adopt Article 5 as recommended. Second. This article includes activities in the middle school and high school such as sports, plays, math teams, speech and debate, student senate. The expenses in this article are for coaching salaries, official services, supplies, equipment, dues, and fees. This article also includes salaries and benefits for summer regular education and instructional programs.
Any discussion on Article 5? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Article 5 is approved. Article 6, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for student support, guidance, health, technology, and staff support, improvement of instruction and staff training, curricular library assessment. School board recommends $2,262,327. Is there a motion?
I move to adopt Article 6 as recommended.
Second.
This article includes negotiated salary and benefits for staff and directors in the above-mentioned departments, district-wide professional development, and other assessment, testing, and supplies.
Further discussion on Article 6? Call for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Article 6 is approved. Article 7, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for system administration, school board and superintendent's office. School board recommends $829,562. Is there a motion?
I move to adopt Article 7 as recommended.
Second.
This article includes negotiated salary and benefits for central office staff, school board stipends, contracted services for legal and audit, legal liability insurance, supplies for school board and central office.
Further discussion on Article 7? Yes, sir.
Since my other amendment failed, I wanted to bring up the point that that was the hard work of the curriculum director to help do a strategic plan for the school district to help the kids at risk. And I'm sorry that that motion did not pass. Therefore, I would like to amend this to reduce the sum by $97,129 to remove the position of curriculum director. We do not need that position, apparently. Thank you.
So again, let me see if first, if I should clarify the motion. The motion is to reduce the amount by $97,129. The rest of the motion would have to be up to the school board. But the understanding is the person making the motion has stated the reason they hope the school board would follow through if this amendment is approved. Further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on the amendment.
There was no second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on the amendment. All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Okay, the amendment fails. That takes us back to the main motion on Article 7. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of Article 7, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Article 7 is approved. Article 8, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for school administration, parenthesis, principal's offices. School board recommends $1,469,660. Is there a motion?
I move to adopt Article 8 as recommended.
Second.
This article includes negotiated salary and benefits for principals and secretaries, principal professional development, accreditation costs, supplies, dues, and fees.
Any discussion on Article 8? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Article 8 is approved. Article 9, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for transportation and buses. The school board recommends $1,357,694. Is there a motion?
I move to adopt Article 9 as recommended. This article includes negotiated salary and benefits for transportation, administration, mechanic and bus drivers, mandated physicals, drug testing, repairs, vehicle insurance, fuel, supplies, and lease purchase payments.
Is there a second? Was it seconded?
Yes.
It's been moved and seconded on Article 9. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
I'd like to move an amendment to add $60,000 to this line item. And this would be, should I wait till, for why?
Well, you can say why.
Okay,
The motion will just be to add the 50,000.
fine. To add $50,000, we have been having a lot of trouble getting drivers for buses for the extracurricular activities. And it has been brought to my attention, there is a potential that if we were to get a 12-passenger van that could be driven by the coaches or somebody else, then that might relieve some of the problems getting some of these students to their practices or even to some games, especially when there is not a bus available. It sounds like a pretty good idea. You can get one or two of these vans. I know KV Cap has them. We have the Kent Hill School has them. There seem to be a very reasonable alternative to some of the problems we're having with the buses, and that's why I raised that amount. It could also go to a lease, which would allow for you to expand that money out a period of years, and that was the reason for my motion. Thank you.
So it's been moved to increase Article 9 by $50,000. Is there a second? Second. Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the amendment? Yes, sir.
Yes, Sean Roderick, Greenfield. So I just want to make clear, we have started this process. We do have one, I don't know if it's called a bus, but a vehicle that coaches, people can drive. We're working towards that. We will be looking at in the future to add that to future budgets based on spending and what funds are available and the needs of our district. So I just want to make it clear that we do have one and we will be looking at more in the future, and that has been a directive for that to be looked at. So I want to make that clear. Thank you.
Is there further discussion on the amendment? Yes, sir.
That's great, Sean, I appreciate that. And I just want to add, though, that we have over $1 million of unexpended balance of our tax money sitting in account doing nothing. And I'm going to raise this issue a little bit later. That money should be used for the needs of our students now. Thank you very much.
Further discussion on the amendment, which is to add $50,000 to Article 9. Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on the amendment. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay.
Nay.
The amendment fails. That takes us back to the main motion on Article 9. Is there further discussion of Article 9? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Article 9 is approved. Article 10, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for facilities maintenance. The school board recommends $3,526,918. Is there a motion?
I move to adopt Article 10 as recommended. This article includes negotiated salary and benefits for maintenance, administration, custodians, and school resource officer, utilities, electricity, oil, propane, telephone, contracted services for snow plowing, heating systems, and roof monitoring, building repairs and projects, painting, and supplies. It also includes the facilities repair bond, principal, and interest payment.
Any discussion of Article 10? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of Article 10 as written, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Article 10 is approved. Article 11, this is another one that's difficult. To see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for debt service and other commitments. The school board recommends 0. Is there a motion?
I move to adopt Article 11 as recommended.
Second.
Any discussion on Article 11? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Article 11 is approved. Article 12, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for all other expenditures, food service and reimbursable transportation. School board recommends $114,327. Is there a motion?
I move to adopt Article 12 as recommended.
Second.
This article includes local dollar support of the food service program and reimbursable transportation provided for RSU 38 towns and recreation programs.
Any discussion of Article 12? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of Article 12 say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Article 12 is approved. Article 13. Does everybody have a copy of the warrant so you can see the articles? If everyone does, I would entertain a motion to waive the reading. It's been moved to waive the reading of Article 13. Is there a second? Is there any discussion of that? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on waiving the reading of Article 13. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The reading is waived. Is there a motion on Article 13?
I move to adopt Article 13 as recommended.
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Any discussion?
RSU 38's contribution to the local cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act is the amount of money determined by state law to be the minimum amount that RSU 38 must raise and assess in order to receive the full amount of state dollars. In other words, this article gives the minimum amount that each town will pay based on the ED 279 state subsidy report, and that RSU 38 must raise and assess in order to receive the full amount of state dollars.
Any discussion of Article 13? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Article 13 is approved. Article 14, to see what sum the RSU will raise and appropriate for the annual payments on debt service previously approved by the legislative body for non-state funded school construction projects or non-state funded portions of school construction projects in addition to the funds appropriated as the local share of the RSU's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12. School board recommends 0. Is there a motion?
I move to adopt Article 14 as recommended.
Second.
State mandated explanation. Non-state funded debt service is the amount of money needed for the annual payments on RSU 38's long-term debt for major capital school construction projects that are not approved for state subsidy. The bonding of this long-term debt was previously approved by the voters.
Any discussion of Article 14? If not, call for a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Article 14 is approved. Article 15, to see what sum the RSU will raise and appropriate in additional local dollars in support of the food service program. School board recommends $105,000. Is there a motion?
I move to adopt Article 15 as recommended.
Second.
This money helps fund the school's food service program and equipment replacement.
Any discussion of Article 15? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Article 15 is approved. Article 16, to see what sum the RSU will raise and appropriate in additional local funds. The school board recommends $6,967,872, which exceeds the state's essential programs and services allocation model by that same amount, $6,967,872, as required to fund the budget recommended by the school board. Is there a motion on Article 16?
I move to adopt Article 16 as recommended.
Second.
State mandated explanation. The additional local funds are those locally raised funds over and above RSU 38's local contribution to the total cost of funding public education from kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, and local amounts raised for the annual payment on non-state funded debt service that will help achieve the RSU 38 budget for educational programs.
Is there any discussion on Article 16? Yes, sir.
I'd like to make an amendment to this motion to reduce the local share down $450,000.
To reduce it by $150,000.
$450,000.
$450,000. Is there a second? Moved and seconded to reduce the amount by $450,000. Any discussion on the amendment?
Yeah, thank you. If this passes, we will reduce our tax burden, utilizing past tax dollars that are sitting in the unexpended balance at the district. While the administration might be concerned that this will leave them at risk of not being able to maintain cash flow or an emergency fund, I can tell you that the district will have over $1.5 million still sitting there. And if they are true to form, they will come in under budget again this year by over $1.3 million. And I want to make the point to you that, and I have a sheet, if you'd be happy to share it with you if you want, that we have come in under budget every single year since FY20, and actually before that, by, and I'll read them, FY20, $1 million, under budget. FY21, under budget, $1.1 million. FY22, under budget, $1.2 million. And FY23, under budget, $1.3 million. And what this means is they never expend the unexpended balance. They just run the year out and then add that extra into the unexpended balance again by $250,000 to $350,000. And it just keeps adding on. I also checked on the cash balance to start the year, like I said earlier tonight. It was over $3 million. And I expect in 2023 it was probably more. We don't know yet. The audit isn't in. And this year I also expect it to be more because, again, the budget has been increasing 5 to 7%. The local share has been increasing 5 or more % every year. And it doesn't need to because the unexpended balance could be used to keep that down. That's why I'm proposing $450,000. What that would do, right now we have to come up with about $900,000, which is between 5, 7, I don't know if it goes any higher than that %. If we reduce this with that unexpended balance, that will half our percentage that we have to give this year. I think it's fair, and I think we can do a better job, and there's more to be done with the unexpended balances. So by virtue of me reducing this particular line, the board will be forced to use some other source of funds to make up the difference. I'm guessing they're going to have to use the unexpended balance. Thank you. I really hope you vote for this one or at least discuss it. I would think you would want something done on this. Thank you.
Further discussion on the amendment, which is to reduce Article 16 by $450,000. Yes, sir.
So does the board use some of that unexpended fund each year when they work on the next year's budget? Because if they don't, then we've got accumulation of about $5 million. And I'm guessing that we really don't have that.
Okay.
My name's Bob Gasper, I'm from Manchester. So if you take Mr. Harker's information and we accumulate all those years since 2020, we've got some $5 million unused balance. I'm guessing that's not correct.
That's accurate.
We do?
No, we do use part of that unexpended fund balance every year.
Right.
To bring down the local tax dollars.
Okay, and then you keep some amount
We do keep some amount
as a,
to cover cash flow.
right,
And in the event the boiler breaks down at the middle school or, you know,
Okay.
we have a major issue in one of our buildings.
okay, so I just want to make that clear to the people that we don't have accumulated 5 years of those $1 million,
That is correct.
that you use some of those, not all of it, every year when you calculate, when you prepare the next year's budget.
That is correct. We used a little over 900,000 for this year already.
Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
I didn't mean that that money all goes in the unexpended balance. I also have a spreadsheet that I did based on the auditing report that tells you exactly how much of that under budget per year is actually put into the unexpended account. And just to give you an idea, in the unassigned part, now they talked about holding back an assigned amount of money, and if you look in your thing, you'll see that it's $800,000 this year. So that $2 million, they take out $800,000 of that and put it aside to hold it in case they need to expend it, like she said, like Mandy said. But there's still $1.2 million sitting there doing nothing. Now, that $1.2 million was made up in 2017 by $237,000 added after the balances. This is in the totally unassigned balance, not the restricted account. In 2018, it went up to $205,738. 2019, $458,000. 327, 2020, 438,726, 2021, 642,205, and finally, the final additions were made in 2022, which now left $1,096,139. So each year it increased by $200,000 to $300,000 in extra. I hope I clarified that for you.
Further discussion on the amendment, which is to reduce Article 16 by $450,000. Yes, sir.
Motion to suspend debate and call the question.
Okay, there's a motion to call the question, which would cut off debate. That's not a debatable motion. It requires a 2/3 vote. All in favor of cutting off debate, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
The motion doesn't carry. Yes, sir.
First, again, Sean Roderick Reedfield, first would like to say, I appreciate all the work that Mandy and past folks have done on these budgets. I've seen some stuff. I want to clear the air that I've seen some stuff posted on social media. Maybe people in this room haven't seen it, some have, that people may have been doing stuff illegally or the school district has that's completely false and not accurate and not fair to the folks who work hard for a school district. So first I want to say that, and I appreciate all that they do and have done. So members of the board, staff, and community members, thank you for being here today as we discuss the proposed budget reduction of $450,000. While I understand the difficulties in balancing priorities and finances, I must voice my strong opposition to this budget cut. Reducing our budget by $450K could have severe, devastating effects on the tax rates for our local communities. Each year, funds are used to reduce the local share contribution. If we reduce the local share by an additional $450K this year, it helps reduce lowest short-term taxes short-term. However, next year, the carry forward might be significantly less. And if you look at state statute, up until 2025, they're allowing 9%. After that, they allow a 5%, and there's a reason for that. Because of COVID, I think we all know, COVID, there was a lot of funds, so we gotta be careful how we do that money. However, the next year carry forward might be significantly less, and that would mean the local share would go up significantly in the next year, causing tax rates to swing from low to high. We try our best to avoid wild swings in taxes by utilizing a consistent amount towards the local dollars shared each year. We have an obligation to our students to provide them with a quality education that prepares them for bright futures. And we have an obligation to our community members to use their tax dollars wisely to maintain stable tax rates to the greatest extent possible. This proposed $450,000 budget reduction violates both those principles. We are also aware that this level of balance will most likely not continue now that we have returned, as I mentioned before, to full-time use of our schools and temporary federal funds are ending. We feel that we have appropriately allocated the excess funds each year in order to maintain a stable budget and tax burden. While yearly school budget and expenditures are often driven by economic conditions outside the control of the school district, the ending the year with a budget to actual fund balance is an essential element of fiscal management. A healthy school fund budget balance is a responsible financial goal and an asset for the community. We've worked too hard to reach our current level of education and quality reasonable tax rates to undermine that progress now. I understand, probably more than most, we face difficult financial choices. But I firmly believe reducing the budget is the wrong choice that will hurt our students and destabilize the community's tax burden. And I want to make clear that we have multiple, and I can share these at some point, I don't have copies for everybody. We have a letter from our, not accountant, our auditor that finances are in good hands, and I thank Mandy and before her, Bridget, for that. And we also have an email from the state that we're doing the right things. And I just think it's wrong to do this here tonight, and I think we should move forward and vote against this motion. So thank you.
Can I also make a clarification?
Yeah. Certainly. I'm an expert.
The balance forward for this year, he indicated was 800,000. It's actually 900,001, 347, and you can see that on your revenue side.
Further discussion on the amendment to Article 16. Seeing none, oh, yes, sir, go ahead.
Sean, I want to thank you for that, but there are some issues with that, and I did not bring this up, and I didn't intend to bring it up, but I am going to bring it up anyways. The state law, this is still in question, and I have, in my testimony in front of the board the other night, I stated that the board needs to be in compliance with state law. I did not say anything about anybody doing anything illegally. I said to look into some of these matters. Here's the matter that has to be looked into, and I'll just mention it to you tonight so you'll be aware of it, especially if you have to come back next year or to a special meeting. The main law is very clear. It says, and I'll read it verbatim to you, notwithstanding any other law, general operating fund balances at the end of a school administrative unit's fiscal year must be carried forward to meet the unit's needs in the next year or over a period not to exceed 3 years. So if there was a balance in 2018 of $582,000, by the time you get to 2022, you have to have spent down that amount to show that you have spent that expended balance within the 3-year period. The unexpended balance in the accounts in the district have just continued to go up and up and up. There has been no downward movement, which says that there's potential that that money has not been spent. I am currently in touch with both Mandy and Jay. We had a meeting Monday, and with the Department of Education, and I hope to have it with the auditors so we can get this straightened out. Because if in fact I'm correct, and I hope I am, that means that we absolutely have to spend this allocated balance down. Now, if I'm wrong, fine, I'll stand with that. But right now, it's an open question. However, let me make a point. Does that, my question here, this was on Monday we met. Do those letters reflect this issue or a separate issue? And can those letters be made available to the public? Thank you.
They do reflect this issue. One was sent Monday and one was sent to you today from our auditor, and they both confirmed that we are in compliance.
I'm sorry, can you say it again? I didn't.
I said, yes, the 2 letters from our auditor, one was sent to you on Monday and one was sent to you on Thursday, both confirming that we are in compliance and we are in good financial standing.
And you'll make those available?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you've actually got a copy in your email. I'm looking at the email right now that has your name on it. So you do have a copy of this already. If any other audience members would like a copy, please let us know and we'll make sure it's available to you. But this comes right from Ron Smith's CPA, CFE, and he is our auditor for RSU 38. So Mr. Harker does have this information already in his email, and we are happy to provide it to anyone else who may be here.
Is it the letter that, Mandy, you shared with me on Monday?
No, it's the one that the second response that you sent. So maybe you didn't have time to read it, but it is in your email.
Okay, I'll
I'm
do that.
looking at your email.
Okay, yeah,
One of them is from Monday. He did send you one on Monday and he sent another one today.
okay. And so I stand corrected because I did not have that information. So we'll see about it because I would like to read it and I still think we may not be in compliance, but I'll let that go. The bottom line issue is we have a lot of extra money here and on student needs and keeping our tax amount burden down. Thank you very much.
Further discussion on the amendment to Article 16, which would reduce Article 16 by $450,000. Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on the amendment. All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
The amendment fails. That takes us back to the main motion on Article 16, which is to approve $6,967,872 in additional local funds. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Article 16 is approved. Article 17.
16 is supposed to be.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is written ballot. We have to vote on this on the written ballot rather than by a voice vote. Do people have the ballots in hand? $52 to 8? Right. I'll announce the vote on Article 16. It's 52 yes, 8 no. Article 16 is approved as written. Article 17, to see what sum the RSU will authorize the school board to expend for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025 from the RSU's contribution to the total cost of funding education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, non-state funded school construction projects, additional local funds for school purposes under Maine Revised Statutes Title 20A, Section 15690, unexpended balances, tuition receipts, state subsidy, and other receipts for the support of schools. The school board recommends $22,951,944, which is incidentally is the total sum of the expenditure articles which you already approved. So is there a motion on Article 17?
I move to adopt Article 17 as read. Second. This article authorizes the school board to spend the recommended budget in the fiscal year 2025. The school board cannot expend an amount above this authorized limit.
Any discussion on Article 17? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Article 17 is approved. Article 18, in the event that the RSU receives more state education subsidy than the amount included in its budget, shall the school board be authorized to use all of the additional state subsidy to decrease the local cost share expectation as defined in Title 20A, Section 15671-A(1)(b) for local property taxpayers for funding public education as approved by the school board. School board recommends ought to pass. Is there a motion?
I move to adopt Article 18 as recommended.
Second.
This article authorizes the school board to use the entire additional state subsidy to reduce local assessments.
Is there any discussion on Article 18? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Article 18 is approved. Article 19, shall the RSU appropriate recommended $391,624 for adult ed and raise recommended $65,000 as the local share with authorization to expend any additional incidental or miscellaneous receipts in the interest and for the well-being of the adult education program. School board recommends ought to pass.
I move to adopt Article 19 as recommended.
Second.
This article covers academic and vocational as well as enrichment programs offered through the adult education program.
Any discussion on Article 19? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Article 19 is approved. Article 20, shall the school board be authorized to expend other revenue from state, federal, local, and private sources for the support of the schools? School board recommends ought to pass.
I move to adopt Article 20 as recommended.
Second.
This article allows the school board to pursue and use funds that may be received through unexpected grants or donations and grant applications that are made by members of the regional school unit, staff, or community. We do not include a specific amount due to the unpredictability of the receipt of funds and because most are dedicated to a specific project or purpose. Examples of some of the funding we received in 2023-2024 are Title 1A, $166,139, Title 2A, $48,287, Title 4, $19,458, Title 5, Rural Low Income, $10,248, Local Entitlement, $388,936, and other miscellaneous grants, $50,000. Also, in 2023-2024, we received federal allocations tied to COVID-19. ESSER, $212,670. The estimated income for the upcoming year is $683,068.
Good work.
Further discussion on Article 20? Yes, sir.
This isn't exactly in Article 20, but it's addressing all of that and the concerns brought up. As a board, on each of these issues, the money available, the buses and transportation, the ed techs all over the district, we care very much and we try to listen to you very much. And if you can especially pay attention when we start the budgeting process in March every year usually, speak to us on these things, because on various things, we heard from people and we listened to it, talked about it, and then we changed what we originally thought we were going to do. We are listening to everybody as much as we can and trying to account for all this, both keeping things responsible as far as the money spent, but also meeting the needs in every school of the district of the children. And so we do want to hear from you on the issues that were brought up tonight and on anything else that comes to your mind. We do want to hear from you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Further discussion on Article 20?
Right. And I just want to thank you for that. And I just want to, I just read the letter, and it does not fully explain it all yet. So wait till next year, maybe you'll get a better sense of what's going on. And it was appreciated that I got the letter at 3:38 p.m. this afternoon. And I just want to also mention that, and this will be to help in the future for the board to follow their policy, to allow the board to question people like me who are speakers at any time they want at board meetings, because that will get to where you want to be, to have a good interaction. Right now, that is the policy of the board. However, for some reason, the chair is not allowing you to ask questions of people like me who come forward with these issues, which I did over a month ago, to get very limited feedback from a board until tonight. So, but thank you very much. Stay
Further
tuned for
discussion
next year.
of Article 20, and let's keep the remarks to Article 20 at this point. Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of Article 20, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Article 20 is approved. Is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Meeting is adjourned.